Hello friends, welcome back to my channel Mukesh English, and this is your favorite YouTuber Mukesh Soni. Friends, in this video, let's summarize an interesting story, Tar Arrives, which is written by the famous Kannada writer, famous Indian writer and intellectual person who has written in Kannada language, that is Devanooru Mahadeva. And this person is famous because he conferred or he received Padma Shri Award, the fourth highest civilian award, and his literary contributions, we can say Devanooru, Odala, Kusuma Bale, so and so. So let's know the introduction of the story here. Tar arrives. This story, Tar Arrives by Devanooru Mahadeva. It's a very powerful critique of caste oppression, corruption, and the unforeseen consequences of modernization. It also describes a village in Karnataka where a road is sanctioned, which leads to a transformation that is both physical and social. So the story which I'm going to describe here, I'm going to summarize here in the form of the key themes, and each theme will have the description. So the story is set in a small unknown village with around 80 houses. It's a very quiet place because it's not famous for anything. There's not even a small tea shop in the village, which shows that how underdeveloped this village is. The village is connected to the main road by a narrow dirt track. Even it is so narrow that even a bullock cart can only a bullock cart can accommodate, not even a bus also. So there are four young men in the village: Lakuma, Rajappa, Madhu, and Shambhu. They are among the few educated people who had studied at least up to high school in the nearby towns. So there they are only the educated people in the whole town. However, the village head, what's the name of the village head? The Patel. He does not like them. The village head Patel does not like those four boys, those four young men, Lakuma, Rajappa, Madhu, and Shambhu. The Patel sees them as arrogant because they walk around with confidence and they do not follow any caste based discrimination because they are educated. Lakuma, being from an untouchable caste, he becomes friends with others very easily, which upsets the Patel and the other villagers. And they are waiting for an excuse to punish these young men. So, what happens? One day, an order comes from the government to build a proper road for the village. The Patel, who had once requested this road from a government minister, is very excited. He even gets a contract to oversee the construction, and this makes him feel even more powerful. The village is very much filled with excitement. People are very happy because there will be work opportunities. The Patel also announces that with the extra government money, the village temple will be renovated. Everyone discusses this news with a great enthusiasm. And what happens later? When the road construction starts, the village changes completely. The banyan trees, which had once made the village look lush and green, now all the banyan trees are cut down. Now the areas look like very dry desert. Huge machines arrive which fascinate the villagers. Men, women, and children, they all gather to watch these smoke emitting machines work. Because when the tar road starts in those days, a lot of fume, a lot of smoke used to appear. Many villagers, especially women, they get jobs working on the road. Some break stones while the others carry and spread gravel mixed with tar. The atmosphere is very lively, almost like a festival. Some women even sing while working. So tar is not familiar material to the villagers. It's very unfamiliar material to the villagers, but they soon find it very useful. So they make a lot of usage of this tar. How? Children are the most curious. Children play near the tar drums. They touch the sticky substance and they just apply it on their hands and their faces, even when their parents scold them. But they keep coming back near the road where the tar work is going on and they play with the tar. One day, a man named Rangappa, he goes to pick up his son who has been playing near the tar. He gets very angry and he hits the child on the mouth. The tar on the child's hands gets stuck to his lips, sealing his mouth shut. Now he is unable to open his mouth because of the tar. This incident shows how much the villagers are interacting with the tar, even in the most dangerous ways. So, finally, even this is one of the how the tar is being used, how the tar is being used as a source of play. Now the women also discover a new usage of tar. One woman uses the tar to seal a leaking pot and it works perfectly, just like feviquick. Soon the tar is taken home by many villagers to fix their household items. Even some start borrowing tar from the neighbors. So this is how the tar is being utilized by the villagers. Now, a letter to the editor. One day, the driver of a machine brings a newspaper from the nearby town. The newspaper contains a complaint about the Patel misusing the government funds. The letter mentions that the Patel is using the money which is meant for the road, he is using this money to renovate the temple. This news spreads very quickly all over the village, just like wildfire. The villagers gather in a large room, in the large numbers, and the Patel is very angry, he's very furious. Immediately, the Patel, who is the village head, he calls for an emergency village meeting at night because of this letter which got published in the newspaper. So he calls for a emergency meeting in the night. The village hall is filled with people. A lantern provides dim light, creating an intense atmosphere. The Patel sits in the center, looking very angry. The meeting starts with all accusations. Patel and his supporters demand to know who wrote the letters. His all supporters they keep on asking, who is this guy who has written this letter? These four young men, Lakuma, Rajappa, Madhu, Shambhu, they all admit that yes, they say, yes, we have written this letter. Why? Because these young men they believe that using government funds wrongly is not acceptable. Why? A heated argument follows. The Patel defends himself, saying that the money was used for the welfare of the village and for God's work. But the young men argue that the money should have been used only for the road as it was decided or intended. The Patel loses his temper. He stands up aggressively, knocking over the lantern. The glass breaks and the hall is plunged into darkness. In the confusion, people rush out and the meeting ends in a chaos. What happens later? There's a warning from Hosur. The next morning, there's a traveler from Hosur, a nearby village. He passes through and he shares a shocking story from Hosur to those villagers. And what does he say? He says that in his village in Hosur, there was a woman who was accused of seducing young men. The villagers tried to warn her, but she did not change. So they decided to punish this woman publicly. They stripped her naked, beaten her with a tamarind branch, and humiliated her. However, she did not remain silent. She went to the police and complained. As a result, the police arrested all the landlords who involved in the punishment, who were involved in beating her. This news terrifies the Patel and his supporters. The Patel and his supporters, they got afraid. Oh my God, police can do this. They had planned to punish the four young men in the same way. Now they are afraid of the police action, so they just take one step. I mean to say the backward means to say they just keep this their plan. They just postpone their plan of punishing those four young men. So now what happens here? One more disaster happens. As the night falls, the village is already in fear, having heard the news about a woman from Hosur. The whole village is in fear. People lock the doors. However, Rangappa's son, the same boy who got tar stuck on his mouth earlier, he goes missing. Rangappa's son goes missing. His parents search for him everywhere but cannot find him. His mother cries throughout the night. And as the entire village wonders what happened to Rangappa's son, the next morning, a police van arrives to investigate the Patel's misuse of funds. As the Patel rushes to meet them, a group of villagers find something horrifying outside the village. What happens? In a pit filled with the tar, Rangappa's missing son is found trapped. His feet are stuck in the tar, and a tar drum holds both his hands. His entire body and face are covered in tar, and this boy looks like as a lifeless. So, however, when they look closely, they realize that, thank God, Rangappa's son is alive. So here the story ends. So hence we can say that the story Rangappa's son, I'm sorry, the story Tar Arrives is very powerful story because it shows how change and modernization can bring both hope as well as destruction. The arrival of tar, which was meant to improve the village road, but it has divided the people, it has created the conflicts, and it was about to kill a child. It's a warning about corruption, social injustice, and blind acceptance of power. So, friends, this is how I have tried to give you a brief summary of the famous story Tar Arrives by Devanooru Mahadeva. This story is in the syllabus of second semester BCA General English under Bangalore University SCP syllabus. Hope you have liked this video. Click on the like button, share it, subscribe the channel if you have not yet done it. Any question, any queries, please do reach me at mukeshenglish@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay in tune with Mukesh English.